Hello, Austin County. Today I'm here with Cade Mathis, owner of Millheim Honey Company. Cade, thank you for being here with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself to the community.
So my name is Cade Mathis. I'm currently 20 years old. I started Millheim Honey Company back in 2017. I currently attend Tarleton State University, majoring in animal science with science concentration and a minor in chemistry. Very science-based.
I can see that. So that's really going to help you with what you do.
Yes.
The animal
Yes,
and the chemistry, because I'm assuming honey processing takes a little bit of chemistry.
Yeah, there's a decent amount to it. It's mainly about learning consistency and moisture content.
Okay.
To where honey doesn't ferment.
Yeah, not everybody wants fermented honey. Okay, so you told us that you started in 2017.
Yes, ma'am.
So how long has the Millheim Honey Company itself been around? And then what made you want to start a honey business?
So it all started when my dad bought 2 hives back in 2017. We live on a ranch and we have cows, goats, you name it, we probably have it. But he bought 2 hives just to add to that. And he's a captain for the Houston Fire Department. He got really busy during that time, and I was like, I'll just take over the hives, kind of teach myself, bring a side, something to do. He got really busy, as I mentioned, and I kind of decided to try and make a little money, start a little business, prep for college. And one thing leads to another, and here I am.
Okay, so how did you choose the name Millheim Honey?
That took a while to decide. Okay. At first, it was, Mathis, maybe M Squared Honey Company or Cade's Honeybee. But I was like, Millheim, that flows. There's not really anything named Millheim.
Right.
So
there you go.
Yeah, it kind of fell into place.
And sometimes it does that. Sometimes you work and think about stuff, and then somebody will make an offhanded comment, and it's like, wow.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we know Dad bought the hives to begin with. All right. But the actual business part, you were what, 8th grade when you started this? So you can't get a bank loan. You can't do anything like that. So who helped you get the actual business part off the ground?
So that was still my dad. He owns a company, Mathis Construction, and he's got, I want to say, close to 20 or 30 years of experience as a business owner. So it was good to have a mentor to look up to.
Right.
And I went to him for advice, and he opened up an account under his name, but I was on that too. And then come 9th grade, he took me to the courthouse, and I legally registered it.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, so how much money did you put in your first bank account?
$90.
Hey.
$90.
And that's a lot for an 8th grader.
It's a start,
A good start.
And it taught me how to invest and put things back into the company.
That's good. Your parents are teaching you right. All right, so you're basically a kid starting this business. All right, so what were some of the challenges, hardships, things like that you had to overcome?
My biggest challenge, if I had to say, was criticism. Given
because you were young.
Given my age, being 12-year-old and going into the beekeeping world, you don't see a young beekeeper trying to start something. So it was really how to do things, or that I couldn't do it. But instead of letting that bring me down, it kind of did at first. But,
well, sure.
Hearing that as a 12-year-old, it was a little sad, but I took that and kind of took it as motivation.
Right.
And let that be the fuel to make something better.
Okay, now, I know when we were talking earlier, you said something about YouTube and your friend.
Yes.
So what did you and YouTube do?
So every night, instead of playing video games, I would go lay in bed and search up, what is queen rearing? How to extract honey? Tips and tricks for a beginner beekeeper. Stuff like that. And
so you truly are self-taught.
Yes.
Wow.
Started out, I didn't have a beekeeping mentor at the time.
Okay.
It was all YouTube taught, and I bought a lot of books at Tractor Supply on beekeeping. And I am self-taught, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's very impressive, because these days everybody who just wants to, let's just jump in this.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
And so, okay, so Dad had the hives, and you taught yourself and everything. Did you have investors, so to speak? Like, did Mom and Dad invest, or was that whole thing about?
Well, at first, my dad helped.
Okay.
And then a few years ago, once I started seeing a profit, you could call it, then I kind of took over, and I figured out, if I spend this, I'll still have enough to be stable.
Right.
And I can use that to make money. So up until about 3 or 4 years ago, he did help me out financially.
Okay. And here are some of your beekeeping pictures. Some of the things that you've done. Now, I understand this is a throwback picture.
One of the original. All
right.
So all the way to the left is my little brother, Cole.
Okay.
He tried out beekeeping for a little bit. Didn't really like it, so now he's out of the picture.
And there's Dad in the middle.
Yes, ma'am. And then all the way to the right is me.
Look at that. And look at that smile. You're ready. You are ready to be a beekeeper.
Oh, I love that.
All right. And so, okay, so these are some of your current hives or past hives?
Past hives.
Okay. So you started out small, basically, like you said.
Yes, ma'am.
Hives. Okay. Some of your...
So that...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What you're looking at there is a full frame of honey.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So what you do is, first you have to check the moisture content. I mentioned earlier, and if it's above, I like to say 16%. The average is around 18, but I do 16 just to be safe. If it's above that content, it'll ferment and eventually turn into alcohol. But I use almost like a spiked paint roller in a way.
Oh, okay.
And I roll that over the capped honey and put it into, it's called a honey extractor. Okay. It pretty much looks like a 55-gallon drum. And you spin the honey.
Like a centrifuge.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, what is this one?
So that was while I was in college. My dad
okay.
helped tend to the hives, and that was him
saying, "Hey, look, I'm keeping them alive. I love it."
We were on FaceTime during that, actually.
No.
I had him set up a tripod and show me each frame.
All right, so there's you, Dad, and there's a lovely young lady. Who's that lovely
girlfriend? Her name is Jordan. We've been together for over 2 years, and she helps me with everything.
Wonderful. Well, good for you, Jordan. All right, so more bee pictures. Stop me if you want to see something. Otherwise, I'm just kind of showing people what you got.
What you're looking at there, if you can zoom in on the frame, or if you go back 2 pictures, okay, that works.
Okay.
That's a full frame of brood. That's a beautiful laying queen. What you want is really from edge to edge. That's eggs, baby bees.
Okay, so if you see bees edge to edge like that, it's considered a good frame, or is it the honey you want to see?
The capped brood. So it almost looks like the honey frame, but it's more dense color-wise. Yes, ma'am. So that is...
Oh, so these are baby bees?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, so you're looking at a frame of baby bees. So this is a bee nursery.
Yes.
All righty. Okay, so that's what you want. Yeah, because you got to have more bees. Is this another brood or sexual son honey?
Yes, ma'am. That's honey frames.
Okay.
So what you call that is a honey super.
A honey super? Let me go back.
See, there's a white layer between the honey super box and the brood box. That's what you call a queen excluder, and that doesn't allow the queen to go up to the top layer and lay her eggs. That's strictly for honey.
Oh, okay. So you basically, you fix up a nursery and it's like, stay here, please, and do...
Pretty much, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nursery and a food pantry.
Gotcha. Okay. And this appears to be you ready to go.
That was a bee removal inside of a garage. We had to take out a piece of sheetrock, and there was a decent sized hive in there. That's another bee removal.
Okay. Well,
that was right next to the Cat Spring Hall.
Oh, okay.
A tree had fallen over from a storm, and they called us out to come get the bees out of it.
Okay.
So that is an up-close frame of the nursery, or brood frame.
All right, so this what looks like fuzz here, that's actual baby bees in there.
Capped brood. Yes.
Shit.
And so that, pretty much, that's the full life cycle. If you think about it, the top part, it almost looks like rice, top right. it looks like rice grains inside the cells.
And then they cap it off, they grow, and then
yes,
they jump out.
So no, you're good. From the little rice grain, they go down to the bottom left, and that's your larvae.
Okay.
And then they cap it and let the bee mature.
And then there you go.
And during this whole process, it almost looked like Play-Doh in the cell.
Okay.
That's called bee bread. And they use that to help nourish them while they're giving to the young.
Okay. And this one, I assume this is...
The queen.
The queen herself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so are they larger than other bees?
So, as you'll notice, they kind of have a bald spot on their back.
Right.
And their abdomen is significantly larger.
Okay. And is it true that if the queen dies, the hive dies?
Not entirely.
Okay.
So, if, let's say, for instance, in that picture, the queen dies, those little rice grains, or the eggs,
okay,
they can input royal jelly into the cell, and the bees will kind of focus more on that cell and create a new queen.
Oh, okay.
So there's a chance a hive could die if it doesn't take, but they do have a rebound.
Okay, so they're pretty smart little suckers. Now, what are we looking at here?
More brood, but a nectar-bound frame, meaning spring was too good, and they brought in too much nectar. Yes, so they're filling, bee cells with honey.
So they fill the nursery with honey. Yikes. Okay.
Too much food.
Oh, now who is this little friend?
That's Gerald.
Okay.
That's a little honeybee. I had to put a drop of honey on my hand. And
he came. Look at all that pollen.
It's a very good-looking bee. That's a
beautiful bee. That's what I was going to say.
That was taken with an iPhone camera, too.
Hey, pretty good. All right. So are these removal hives?
No, ma'am. So I sell bees.
Oh, okay.
And those are, they're called nukes.
Okay.
Or starting out colonies.
Okay.
It consists of 4 different frames. That's 2 frames of brood, or the nursery frames.
Right.
Frame of honey and an empty frame.
Okay.
And people will buy those and, set them out and then eventually transfer them to the bigger boxes and start their own hive.
So when I call you to buy my bees, you're going to bring me a box?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Excellent.
Go back real quick.
Oh.
Okay. The red plug there at the base, is that basically you open that up and that's where they'll go in and out of?
Yeah. That's the entrance. I put the red plug on there just to help transport. That way they aren't pouring out on Highway 36. But
that would be no good. Okay, so basically this is a sealed box.
Yes.
Plugged up. When you get there, you unplug it. Are they angry when they get out?
A little bit. They're a little feisty because they've been usually do that in the summertime or late spring, and it gets hot in there. So you don't want to leave them closed too long.
Well, no.
But
that's what I'm saying, but they're feisty when they get out. All right, now.
That's another nuke, just a different box.
Okay.
But that was actually a bee removal from another garage.
Okay. So we'll come to bee removal in just a minute. That's okay. And this is
Jordan. That's Jordan again.
Oh, okay.
Look,
Jordan, you're famous.
I had recently, I was a little sick that day, so I had her go check the bees for me. Because that was during queen rearing time, or when I was making queens and on a time limit.
So this is just some of your checking out your...
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, all right. Now, this one looks funny. What's the deal with this one?
So that is called a long Langstroth hive.
Okay.
And I usually don't use them because bees have a tendency to build up rather than to the left and right.
Okay.
And that's what you call cross comb. People put empty frames in there and the bees built perpendicular to the frames.
And I was just saying, because it's not as pretty.
No.
And it doesn't look like it'd be as easy to harvest.
No. Usually what I do with those is, come springtime, whenever there's available resources, I'll slowly take out a frame of cross comb and put an empty frame. That way they can kind of fix themselves.
Gotcha.
But,
so it's that old thing, I'm giving you a new frame, straighten yourself up.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. So.
And that's another picture of the long Langstroth hive.
Okay. And there's your smoke. Okay. The smoke that you use, because, they have the smoke to.
Yes.
Okay. Is it.
Strictly pine shavings. I used to use pine needles.
Okay.
Because they're easier to find.
All right.
After a while, I ran out.
Okay. And that's what I was going to say. So it's not like you have to use a particular fade.
No.
Okay.
Bees like colder smoke. That way they get irritated by the heat you put on them.
Gotcha.
So pine shavings
are a good thing. Okay, that's what I always wondered, because they showed the smoker, and I wondered, is it one of those things you always have to have oak, or you have charcoal, or
people use burlap, cottonseed, all sorts of stuff. But I like pine shavings. I've had the best results with that.
Personal preference there. All right, so there's more of the
nukes.
I just think that's so nifty.
It is.
All right.
It is.
More beekeeping. And what is this kind of?
So that's kind of like the other pictures you just showed. Those are hive consultations.
Okay.
And what that means is somebody has beehives. They get a little lost or don't really know what steps to take.
Gotcha.
They'll call me and I'll come out and kind of advise them in a way on what to do.
All right. So you're like the bee whisperer.
In a way. Okay, you could say that.
I got a question as far as the different sizes you have. I saw the one of them you had that was up on the stilts and you had the lid open, where it like flipped up.
Yes.
And these are the stackable kind. How do you determine which ones you want to use at what?
It's all personal preference.
Okay.
The long one you saw, and they're both called Langstroth, which is the type of hive.
Right.
It's just really personal preference. You could go horizontally or vertically. I've just had better results vertically.
Okay. So it's not any big.
No, it's not really a difference.
Okay.
It's just whichever you prefer.
All right. So we talked about this. Now I want to talk about the bee removal, because I know. Now I'm going to tell you the truth. If I came across a group of bees like this,
I used to be scared.
I don't run, but I think I would run from this. I have to admit that. I mean, they hang there and look on a post.
They're beautiful though.
Well, thanks. I mean, I get
beautiful pictures. Scary.
It's scary.
But
okay, now this one. Tell me what you thought about this one.
We pulled up. This was in Chapel Hill. We pulled up. I was like, that looks like the shape of Texas with a beautiful background. It just shows Texas.
It does sort of show Texas. Now, how would you remove something like this? I mean, this is not a box. I mean, this is a chunk.
So, normally, you use what's called a bee vacuum.
Okay.
It's almost like a shop vac in a way, but modified. The pressure is decreased a lot.
To beat them up.
Yes. But what I do is I spray them with a little sugar water. That's a mixture, about 1 cup of sugar to 1 cup of water. That's what you feed them.
Okay.
I spray that to temporarily disable their flying ability. And once I get them in the box, it kind of helps them out. They eat it off of each other and gives them a little boost of energy.
Okay.
But with that one...
So it's like a snack and a move.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I used the sugar water, but I did not use the bee vacuum.
Okay, what'd you do?
I used a pencil pouch from my binder. I just put it in between the post and the bees and scooped them into the box.
Well, I'll be darned.
Flawless.
All righty then. And look.
There's another one.
Okay. Now, here's my question. All right, so we've seen tree, fence, fire hydrant. There's a couple of other ones. Oh, let me go back. How did they choose where they're going to... I mean, does somebody get lost?
No, so they have what's called scout bees.
Okay.
And if the hive is kind of feeling like they need to swarm or leave, they'll send a few out to say, okay, let's go pick a new house. Let's go look at real estate. And they'll fly, in your soffits or wherever. And depending on the size of the hive, that'll determine where they go. And a thing that kind of helps that is if there was a hive, let's say, in a tree at one point in time, but they left. If newbies are looking for a hive, they'll go to that tree and say, okay, bees were here.
Okay.
And
then
they'll end up moving there.
Okay. So this just kind of look at the draw. So like these would be maybe scout bees that got distracted by the red fire hydrant and said, hey, we're going to hang here for a little bit. Okay.
One thing that beekeepers do is put out, it's called lemongrass essential oil.
Okay.
You put like 2 drops on a frame and set it out, and that'll kind of attract them in a way.
Okay. All right. Now, this looks like a radar thing.
That is an infrared camera. I use that to kind of determine where the hive is for bee removal.
So, like, if you come into my house and I'm like,
right,
I hear buzzing.
Before I cut, I'll shoot the wall with that or the soffit or whatever.
Okay.
I use an infrared camera.
And speaking of cut, that was my thing. Yes, I'm going to go back. We saw, this is your Facebook page.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to show this. Greg, can you make that big so I can see it? Okay. So somebody called you and said, hi, I hear buzzing. And you literally just cut their house.
Yes. So in order to properly and professionally remove a beehive, you have to, take the wall off. That way, because if you get the bees but leave the comb, it'll kind of eventually rot.
Okay.
And, it'll smell horrible. A really nasty smell. So you have to remove the bees and the comb. That's the proper way to do it anyway.
Okay. So we talked a little bit. So it's not the issue with having the bees in the wall, other than the fact that you could be stung, is not the weight. I thought it was the weight of the comb.
No, so it's more of, the rotting and the smell.
Okay.
Because once you have honey seeping down your sheetrock,
right, it
won't be too pleasant.
Okay, so basically, once you've removed it and everything, here, let me go back to this. Once you've removed it, then, you didn't get all the bees. That's when you go back with the...
Yes. So I give it about a week or two.
Okay.
Tell the client, hey, there's going to be a ball of bees that'll probably come back. Give it about a week or two, and either they'll swarm off or I'll come back and get them. And once I do that, then I spray the, let's say, piece of sheetrock.
Okay.
With vinegar and peppermint essential oil. And that'll deter bees or new bees from building a new hive there.
Okay, so you go and you get a little bee case and
mentioning the bee vacuum, that's inside the bee vacuum. It's a little screen encasement, and you pull the hose out where that little circle is, and the bees.
So this is the inside of the bee vac.
Yes, yeah. And from there, you'll take the lid off and dump it inside the beehive, and there you go. So that was my first ever bee removal.
And you look so happy.
Oh, it was late August, around 5 p.m. It was hot. Yeah. But yeah, that was probably one of my favorites. That one was an industry on an older style house. If you go to the next picture, that's what the hive looked like.
Okay, now why is and maybe maybe don't, but like in the frames, the honeycomb tends to be a little darker, and I've noticed in several of these pictures, this is very white.
Yes. So, those darker frames, I interchange them between hives a lot. One hive may leave, or one hive may need a frame of brood starting out. It's really just dirt or usage.
Okay.
Beeswax.
This is more of your quote-unquote pure wax. Okay.
Beeswax always starts out white. And as the bees walk over it, it'll turn yellow and then a brown and eventually dark brown and black.
Okay.
And you'll notice brood frames, or the nursery, will always be darker than the honey frames.
Okay. As people are in and out. There's you and your bee vac.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There's Jordan, the photographer.
She's watching you work. I like it.
Making sure I'm safe.
Exactly. Okay, now this looks like those ones that you talked about before. They're the up and down.
Yes.
And again, you had to cut that wall. Okay. Now, did Jordan loan you the hair clip to catch the queen?
No, I had to go get one. That's actually called a queen catcher.
It's an actual thing?
Mm-hmm. Oh. It's pretty much
it. I was being facetious. I thought it was a hair clip.
It looks pretty much identical, but the size of the gaps, it prevents the queen from going in and out.
Okay, so it looks like there's a couple of other bees in there with her.
Yes. So
do you need to have other bees with her?
I try to, because that way, when you put the queen under stress, you don't want her to die, and that way you call them tenant bees. They'll feed her and make sure she's okay in a process of transport.
Gotcha. Okay, so bring a friend. More.
And all those pictures, that queen you just saw, That's from that hive.
Oh, okay.
And there's your honey.
Okay, now can you save that honey, or is it just considered lost?
I tend to save it. I cannot sell it because, legally and safety-wise, you don't know.
But you could still feed it to your bees.
Right, yes, that's what I tend to do. I feed it back to my bees.
Now, I know I saw an article, I don't know, a year or two ago, and they had blue honey. Okay?
Okay.
And the way they couldn't figure it out, they thought they had some kind of, magical bees. Come to find out there was like an M&M or a Skittle plant.
Right.
And they had been going out there, and what they dumped, the bees were bringing it back, and it turned the honey blue.
Right. So that's kind of like your sugar syrup ratio that you feed them, let's say summertime.
Okay.
That syrup that they dumped, the bees were feeding on that. And because of the color blue, they take it and pack it inside their cells.
Okay.
And they still have the color blue with that.
All right. So you even get bees out of trees.
Blue honey.
Oh, there's your taking it. All right. I love this one. Is that literally the electrical thing on the side of the road?
Behind the Dairy Queen in Sealy, that was an AT&T server.
Okay. Then look at there.
So who calls you?
Yeah.
The AT&T people on site.
Yeah, I guess they didn't really want to mess with it. I wouldn't either. Okay, and here's some more.
That one was a beautiful hive. It was out towards Wesley. It was in a little staircase, fiberglass staircase.
Okay, now why do you consider that a beautiful hive?
You don't really see hives that big,
okay,
without having structure to hang on to.
Like, oh, so it's just free hanging.
Right, most of that is free hanging.
Oh, I see. So it's hanging. So here's the staircase. Okay.
And you don't really see that.
Yeah, I guess that is because the structure they have to build to support them and the honey.
And just look at the amount of bees in there.
Yeah, that's a lot of bees.
And there's the queen.
Yeah, there she is. Look, I found her. It's like, where's Waldo, but with bees? Where's the queen? All right, and you just look so happy. I'd be terrified.
I love what I do,
and that's good. That's everybody should do that. Now, is that the stairwell?
No, ma'am. So that was actually a removal in Chapel Hill on an older house.
Oh, okay. So I know who to call because I live in a vintage farmhouse. So if I get bees, is this under the porch?
Yes, but if you go back to the other picture, earlier I mentioned the sugar to water ratio, like a spray. That's what I'm doing there to kind of calm them down before.
This is your sugar water here.
But that's just, you're in an awful precarious angle right there. The bee removal looks like it could be kind of on the dangerous side. I mean, I say dangerous, but you could get hurt.
Right, right.
Yeah, because you're not exactly sitting up.
No. I mean, that's...
But you're going to. So
and it was only like 5 feet off the ground. But I didn't want to do a shorter ladder.
What do you charge for bee removal?
So...
Because, I mean, I know I wouldn't do that for free.
No, it depends. A hive like that, $250.
Okay.
One of those bigger hives, you'll see $450 if I have to cut the wall. The starting is $450. Any swarm, about $100. Okay. I try and charge enough to where I can make a little profit, but at the same time, I don't want to take from the customer.
All right. So you're just an honest businessman.
Right.
Oh, that one. Yeah, there's an attic. Or is that a soffit?
The soffit.
Okay.
That went into the attic.
So did they come all the way up into the attic, or did they stick right there to the eave?
It went about a foot or two into the attic. It was a decent size house.
But I mean, they didn't get up in there and then go, oh wow, look at my huge...
No.
Now, what is this one?
So that one, right before Christmas, I did one at the Giddings Stone Mansion in Brenham.
Okay.
I had to do a little hive. It was about 4 feet long by about 2 feet wide. I had to rent a lift to go about 40 feet in the air on a windy day. It was a little scary, but that was probably my tallest hive I've ever done.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. No.
But it's weird. It's weird to say, as scary as that looks, I love it. I love being a part of it. I just like being with bees.
So you're like the race car driver of bee removal, huh? You like the adrenaline rush?
So what would you say your proportion is as far as bee removal to actual bee production do you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. So honey production is about 50% of the business. Well, let's say 40. Bee removals is about 50%, and bee sales are about 10 to 20, give or take, you know. It depends on the year. Like this past year, it was mainly removal based. Year before that was mainly honey production. It really just depends on how Mother Nature treats us or decides to.
I was to say, and I was saying that, see, that kind of leads us into our next question: is all of the things that you have for sale? Yeah. Because as you said, you sell
a lot.
Let me go back to my page here, and you have your own website.
Mm-hmm. That was actually made December of 2023, in between my college finals.
That was a good-looking website. All right, and you do have a newsletter. I clicked out of it because it was in the way of what I wanted to look at, but you can sign up for it. And yes. What do you get if you sign up for the newsletter?
Usually I try to send it out on the 1st of every month. Okay. I'm a little behind this year because, you know, I'm getting back into the college groove.
Right.
Because we go back Sunday the 12th. But I try to send it out the 1st of every month, and it kind of lays out what I'm doing that month, my plans, any new products, or any achievements. Or
all right. And you have some of your
blogs. Yes, I try and write a blog each month too, to kind of let the community know.
Okay, so let's see. Let's go this way. Products. You have honey, bees, beekeeping equipment, gifts, bundle, bud. You have some of everything, does. We'll click on all products. Okay. All right. So you.
Those are the nukes and the bees that I sell. Okay. I mentioned earlier I breed queens and use those to make the nukes.
Okay.
So I offer.
So when they order, I mean, you're getting local bees from a local person.
Yes.
And I understand that honey, if you, and I may be wrong, but if you eat local honey, it's supposed to be better for you because of allergens and
yes,
things like that.
I used to have horrible allergies. It would put me out of school for, you know, an extended period of days. But then I started beekeeping and tried my own honey. And I used to take that, or I still do, a teaspoon every morning and every night. Because what honey does is, along with allergies, it can give you a boost of energy, but it also contains tryptophan, which helps you sleep. So it'll wake you up in the morning, but it'll help you sleep at night.
Well, there you go.
But going back to the allergy side of things, yeah, it's got your native flowers, the pollen from those flowers in there, and you kind of build up a little immunity to that. And if you don't really like the sweetness of honey, I also offer...
Who doesn't like the sweetness of honey? What's wrong with that?
I also offer bee pollen.
Okay.
So I use what's called a pollen trap. And you put that at the entrance of a beehive.
Okay.
And I harvest the pollen. It was at the top.
Right. Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's another alternative to honey. And you can put that in, you know, smoothies, your tea, on top of a salad. But that's what it tastes like. Bittersweet. It's different, but it's not too bad of a flavor.
So it's not, I mean, it's not like you don't want to sit there and eat it like candy or something. No? Okay.
Personally, it has to be mixed with something.
Okay. But like you said, if you would put it...
Yeah, like in tea or coffee.
Okay. And it dissolves?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that you could just make yourself a cup of tea, put your little bee pollen, a little bit of your honey, stir it up, call it good.
Now the best thing in tea and coffee is your vanilla bean and cinnamon infused honey.
Oh, and you happen to have some of that. Show it to us.
Right here. So I use 2 vanilla beans and 2 cinnamon sticks.
Okay.
I let it sit for a few months.
Okay.
Usually in the...
So it steeps.
Yes. And usually I set it in the sun to naturally infuse it by heat rather than, you know, putting it over a stovetop. Because if you heat it up and put it over a stovetop, that'll take out your bacterial properties that you want to intake.
Okay. And I was going to go in here. You had, this one. Yeah. This picture. You were telling me about this.
Mm-hmm. So see the color difference in the 2 honeys? The one on the left is It's wildflower, but it's primarily sunflower based.
Okay.
That was harvested in early June. Because where we're located, the ranch next to us has, I want to say, about 150 acres of sunflower fields.
Okay.
And my bees love it. Love it. Yes, they're all over that. The honey you see to the right is harvested around July. Late July, early August. That's a year native wildflowers because the sunflowers already fell over. They're over with. But the one on the right.
Make it bigger again so they can see the color. All right. So sunflower and then just regular native flowers. Yes. That's pretty nifty. I didn't even realize honey could be different colors.
The flavor difference is crazy.
Is it?
So the left, the sunflower, it's really sweet, kind of like candy. On the right, it's like a bittersweet. It's kind of tart in a way.
Oh, we learned something. All right, so let's see. I was
going to ask some questions.
Yes.
I know when I went to, in Brenham they had that, the bee school thing. And one of the things that I know when I went to it, they said that the biggest thing around here is Yopon. Is one.
Yes.
So around this area, you tend to get, they called it like Yopon honey. And they said it was very distinct in its taste. But how would you define like Yopon honey?
Along with that bitter or tart flavor, a really big one too is snow on the prairie. You'll see it in the fall. It's like a longer white flower. That adds a natural spice to honey. Now, I do not really harvest, late fall, like late September. I try to do early September before it blooms. But that adds a natural spice to honey, and it's not too pleasant of a flavor. Some people like it, but
that sounds like something you would put like maybe in sweet and sour pork or something like that. You would want some spice too.
That honey I usually send a feed back to the bees.
Okay. I was just saying, I see here, what are we doing here?
Experimenting.
Oh, Lord. There's your chemistry, Mr. Chemist. What were you making?
So that was the very first time I made hot honey.
Okay.
Before I came up with the right recipe, I had, a line of tubes, and I messed with the recipe a little bit. I had different hot sauces I put in there. A vinegar. This one had vinegar and red pepper flakes. And in order to speed up the process, since I was just testing it, I decided to heat it up, right? Because I let hot honey sit in the sun for a few months. That way it's fully infused.
So all of your products, you actually sit there in your own kitchen and work on until you like it to how it tastes?
Either likely.
I was going to say, or he does it outside. Is it free cooking outside?
Or in my dorm room at college.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was experimenting.
Now, who is the guinea pig? Who tries it?
My parents or my girlfriend.
Okay. Or Jordan. We should have brought her on here to defend herself. Poor thing.
What would you say when some of your experimentations? What would you say some of your best sellers are?
Best sellers, definitely the vanilla bean and cinnamon. Hot honey is a really good seller. Up and coming is my pecan infused honey. That's more of a bitter flavor in a way.
Okay.
But a lot of people like to eat the pecans and snack on a honey pecan.
Flower, true wildflower.
Honey powder is becoming a bestseller. What that is dehydrated honey, strictly dehydrated.
Click out. What are honey sticks?
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
Okay, dehydrated. How do you use dehydrated honey?
Sugar substitute. That's all it is. Anything you use sugar with, honey powder.
That's right, because sugar is. What am I trying to say? Honey is not.
Right.
Doesn't spike blood sugar, I was told. Huh.
Yeah. So let's just say for reference, 4 tablespoons of honey powder, 4 tablespoons of sugar equals about 1 and 1.5 tablespoons of honey powder.
Wow. Okay, Greg, let's go back to your, honey sticks.
Yes, honey sticks, all it is a straw with honey in it. It's like a little energy boost on the go. So I use a heat sealer and a little pump. It's kind of a pre-built mechanism, and I pump it in there.
Hey, what is killer bee honey? Do you kill the bees? And But it is
So
honey.
that's actually an advertisement name. Killer bee honey is Carolina Reaper infused honey.
Oh no.
Killer bee, killer.
Oh, that's Carolina. Oh, okay. No, sir.
I don't even know.
Oh, but that is so good on barbecue.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you use it like a glaze.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Okay,
And
there's your
pecan.
pecan honey. Oh, it actually has pecans in it. Look there. Ooh, I'm gonna have to get some for my mother. She loves her pecans. All right. Oh, and I know that they have. Let's see if I can find it. There's your vanilla. The comb, the honeycomb that you can chew. This
Right.
right here. Do you literally just cut?
So I used to cut the comb off the beehive, but now they make, it's called the Hog Half Comb Honey Super. And see how it kind of looks like a cassette tape?
Right.
It comes pre-built, a pack of 40, and all you do is set that on top of the beehive.
When they make it.
And they build the comb
Okay.
into the box. And I just put the lid on and we're good to go.
Oh, and it's so good.
Yes.
It's good. And it's nifty because if you're old enough, which you're not, they used to have, when we were kids, these little bottles and they had like sugar water in them and you could chew them. They're little wax things. That's what this is, but 1,000 times better. I should have had him bring you some, Greg. It's amazing. All right. And so on here, you have pretty much everything. I don't want to belabor the point too much, but you have your products, your bee services. Now, where to buy? That's the important part. Okay, so we can get it at Linseisen's, 4M Farm, Against the Grain, Tip Top Wood Shop, Brenham Donuts, K&D Feed and more. Something to crow about.
Yes, ma'am.
I love something to crow about here.
And I'm trying to expand my product line throughout stores.
Okay. So if we have anybody that's interested in carrying it, just get in touch with you.
Get in touch with me.
All right.
I'd be happy to.
And then I see here educational resources. Being a former teacher, of course, that, right. Piques my interest. And so this is you're telling them how to do it.
Correct. So whenever you purchase a nuke, or let's say a queen,
which you can. I forgot to show the picture. Let's see, in your products right here. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, so it's called queen rearing. That's closer to the end when the queens have hatched. And I'm using that as an incubation technique. Okay. Letting the queens thrive without kind of killing each other. Because there can only be one queen per beehive.
Right.
So that's why they're in the cages. It's where they don't go and kill each other.
Okay.
Is it just the queen, or do you put the attendants with them too? Like you did with the little clip thing?
In the hive itself, just the queen, because the tenants can go through the cages.
Oh, okay. So they have it. Yes. So, okay. So if you want to do, this gives you information, and you also have, let's see, you have, which I see you wearing a shirt. You can also get merch.
Yes.
If you want to, decals, shirts,
bottle opener,
any
of the above.
Okay, so you have some of everything. All right. So I think have I missed anything? Was there anything you wanted to tell us that I didn't discuss?
Not really. Do y'all have any more questions?
We could do this for about 5 or 6 hours. So I do have 2 more questions. One of them is, where do you see your business going in the future?
So short term,
okay,
I'm creating mobile honey extraction, meaning, there's a lot of hobbyist beekeepers in our area, and they want to harvest honey, but they don't want to purchase the equipment. What I'm offering in the future, come March, is mobile honey extraction.
Okay.
That means I go out and harvest the honey for them on site and give the honey to them. That way they don't have to have the burden of purchasing the equipment.
Oh, that's pretty nifty. So they just take care of the hive, as men you take that? That's nifty. All right. And what else? Anything?
Now, long term, hopefully, eventually, full time. That'll take years and a lot more research to do, but I could see this going full time.
So pretty much you would just be
continue the dream.
Local beekeeper.
Trying.
Hey,
trying.
I think that's nifty. All right. So here's the thing. You've talked about how you started, where you're going. If somebody came to you today and they said, Cade, I would like to start a honey business. What advice would you give me?
Live the dream. You're going to get a lot of criticism starting out, and it's going to be hard. You need to know how to experience failure and take that and turn it into motivation. Just never give up, because it's going to happen, and you're going to make that dream come true. Just know how to make it right.
Awesome. Well, we know that you're here, and on your website, it has all your information. You're on the Facebook page. Greg, flip me back real quick to his page. It is the Millheim Honey Company.com, and we will have all that information linked at the end so that people can get in touch with you and everything like that. And we greatly, greatly appreciate you being with us.
Well, thank you all for having
today. And we learned a lot, and I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely.
Maybe in the spring. Yeah. And if I won't die from a bee sting, maybe you'll bring some bees, or maybe we could come visit you.
That would be really cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, we'll see about doing that, setting that up in the spring, because I don't like the cold. Oh, speaking of cold, last question.
Yes.
All right. My husband, when I was telling him that we were going to do this today, he said, ask him, how do you keep the bees warm?
So
weather like this.
Yeah. So in this weather, right now I really don't do anything. I let Mother Nature take it, because bees have been around for a long time. They know what to do. Really, the only thing I do is create sugar bricks. That's 10 pounds of sugar and 1 pound of water. I heat it up in the oven to create a brick, and I give that to them before the cold hits. That way, if they do end up running out of honey, they'll have another resource to eat, and they don't have to go out of the hive. But cold-wise or insulation-wise, I really don't do much.
Now, do they? I heard somewhere that they could agitate or beat their wings and have heat.
So they huddle together in the middle of the hive and create pretty much a ball of heat, and that's what keeps them warm. That's why a lot of people say, don't open your hive if it's under 55 degrees, because that'll release the heat and eventually kill them.
Oh, yeah. Let's not do that. All right. Well, again, thank you for being with us.
Absolutely.
And Austin County, until next time, be sure to like and subscribe so that you can be informed of what's going on. All right. And we'll see you next time.